about the glories of the holy name tend to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success of Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining the Bhakti Sangha conference call today. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all have joined?
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Preeti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandvat Pranam.
Hare-
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvind Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karna Devi Dasi from Lincoln.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Mataji. Dandvat Pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arju Padma Mataji, Dandvat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vrindavan.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gupta Mataji. Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devi Dasi from Texas College Station.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji, all Vishnu Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj's my humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devi Dasi from Nalai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shama Gauri Devi Dasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Shyamagori Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashomati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashomati Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji. Radha Damodar ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My Dandvat Pranam to you and to the all respected devotees of this divine group. This is Pooja Arora from Haridwar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Puja Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padma Sakhi Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Aditi Devi Dasi in Canada.
Hare Krishna, Aditi Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji. Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all the assembled devotees. This is Sushmita from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Sushmita Mataji. Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. All glories to assembled devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji. Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhakti Sangha. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are fortunate to have His Grace Keshavanand Prabhu for enlightening us the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto 10th chapter 29 to 33 on 33 verses. Before giving it to Prabhuji, I would like to hand over the call to Tiffany Mataji for giving brief introduction about Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Mataji, please take over the call.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today we have with us His Grace Dr. Keshavanand Prabhuji. Prabhuji was a professional doctor for many years, and he is now a practicing monk. For the last 20 years, he has conducted extensive research and authored books in the field of science and spirituality. He feels the rift between science and spirituality must disappear to bring peace in the world. If spirituality is a superstition and myth, science is materialistic and atheistic. A new approach to life is needed today that can bring the best of both. Science must re-embrace spirituality and be humble to admit its defects, flaws, and ignorance. And spirituality must base itself on sound, scientific, and rational ideas. Dr. Keshavanand Prabhuji has studied both Vedic and Western philosophy. Besides learning Sanskrit, he has also learned Bengali, Gujarati, Marathi, and Kannada to know about other traditions. His persistent endeavor in the field of science and spirituality has led him to develop seminars on diverse topics like science and the Vedas, mind and machines, science fails to explain life, consciousness and beyond, etc. He has also presented these seminars in various colleges in India, Europe, and America. Under the guidance of his spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami, he has also started a Gurukul, a traditional system of Vedic education in Punjab, India, where children learn the ancient Vedic culture and values. Besides, he has also started a farm community. The community has a traditional way of living with mud huts and thatch roofs, with cows, and of course, farming. The communities will set a model for the world to show how to live a life based on the principle of simple living and high thinking. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the call, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji. And we have Prabhu. I don't see Prabhu on the call yet. I don't see Prabhu yet. I think maybe we can, if anybody would like to introduce, please go ahead, Mataji. Otherwise, we can continue.
We can read the words.
Oh, sure, sure, Mataji. So, oh yeah, we have Prabhuji here. Yeah. Mataji, you got it. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining this morning, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable time and association and enlighten us in the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 10th chapter, verses 29 to 33 onwards, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Have you read it?
Not yet, Prabhu. You would like? Should we read, Prabhu, now?
Yeah, please read.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we will be reading from Canto 6, Chapter 10, text 29 through 33. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tesva prayasam vitatam nirikshya. Harava bhakta hatayuddha darpa palayana jimukhe visrajya patim manaste dhadur attasara. Translation: the asuras, who are never devotees of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, lost their pride in fighting when they found all their endeavors futile. Leaving aside their leader, Even in the very beginning of the fight, they decided to flee because all their prowess had been taken away by the enemy. Text 30. Vrito asuram stan anugan manasvi pradhavata prekshya bhabasa etat palayitam prekshya balam cha bhagnam bhayena tivrena vihasya viram. Seeing his army broken and all the asuras, even those known as great heroes, fleeing the battlefield out of intense fear, Vritrasura, who was truly a great-minded hero, smiled and spoke the following words. Text 31. Kalopapannam ruchiram manasvinam jagadavacham purusha pravira he viprachitte namuche puloman mayanarvan chambarame shrunudvam. Translation. According to his position and the time and circumstances, Vritrasura, the hero among heroes, spoke words that were much to be appreciated by thoughtful men. He called to the heroes of the demons, O Viprachiti, O Namuchi, O Puloma, O Maya, Anarva, Sambara, and Sambara. Please hear me and do not flee. Text 32. Jatasya mrityur dhruva eva sarvata pratikriyayasya na cheha klipta loko yashas chata tato yadityamum ko nama mrityum navrinita yuktam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vritrasura said, all living entities who have taken birth in this material world must die. Surely no one in this world has found any means to be saved from death. Even Providence has not provided a means to escape it. Under the circumstances, death being inevitable, if one can gain promotion to the higher planetary systems and be always celebrated here by dying a suitable death, what man will not accept such a glorious death? Purport. If by dying, one can be elevated to the higher planetary systems and be ever famous after his death, who is so foolish that he will refuse such a glorious death? Similar advice was also given by Krishna to Arjuna. My dear Arjuna, the Lord said, do not desist from fighting. If you gain victory in the fight, you will enjoy a kingdom. And even if you die, you will be elevated to the heavenly planets. Everyone should be ready to die while performing glorious deeds. A glorious person is not meant to meet death like cats and dogs. Text 33. Dvav samartav iha mrityu durapau yad brahma sandhara ranaya jitasu kale varam yogarato vijahyat yad agranirvirashaye anivritta. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are two ways to meet a glorious death, and both are very rare. One is to die after performing mystic yoga, especially bhakti yoga, by which one can control the mind and living force and die absorbed in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The second is to die on the battlefield, leading the army and never showing one's back. These two kinds of death are recommended in the Shastra as glorious. Purport thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 6th canto, 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Battle Between the Demigods and Vritrasura. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you can hear me, all of you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
we can hear you, Prabhu.
Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalaka Chakshanitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Nam Ste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharya Vishishtam Adi Vaishtavishta. Just hold Okay, so we are discussing this. These almost the last few verses of chapter 10, 6th canto, Vritrasur. So what's happening here is Vritrasur is he is there to fight Indra, and of course that's not the fault of Vritrasur, that's the fault of Indra, because Indra, he did a yagya to actually kill the demons, and we all know the history. Vritrasur was produced from the yagya, and he got immeasurable strength because of wrong chanting of the mantras. But anyway, the point is, if you want to play a game, then there is always an opponent. So Indra wants to defeat demons, but then here is a hero, Vritrasur. Sukadeva Goswami calls him as a hero, and who is ready to kill Indra. Indra produced his own enemy by his own tricks, which he was trying to do to kill demons. Now here, but Vritrasur, Indra was very impressed by Vritrasur, although he was his enemy. Indra will praise his heroic power and his courage to not leave the battle. What's happening here is Vritrasur with all his demon friends, and even the name Viprachitti, Namuchi, Puloma, Shambara, they all went to fight demigods. Vritrasur was a leader, and they went to fight demigods. And what this verse is saying, Te so prayasam vitham nirikshaya. All the demons saw that their all efforts are becoming simply waste against demigods. Why? Because harau abhakta, because they were not devotees of Krishna. And that is the whole point there. They thought, well, these demigods are being protected by Krishna and Vishnu. And they are in fact protected by Krishna and Vishnu, even if he's present or even if he's not present. That's why this Bhagavatam verse says, Etecham sakala pumsa Krishnastu bhagavam sam indrari vyakulam loke. Krishna comes to kill the enemies of Indra. It's said like that. It's not said Krishna comes to kill demons. It's said he comes to kill the enemies of Indra. And here in front of demigods and Indra, this person, Vritrasur, he is really born to kill Indra. He is really an enemy of Indra. And it's Krishna's vow to kill the enemies of Indra. Why? Because Indra is on the side of dharma, religion. And Krishna has another vow, dharma samsthapanarthaya. Krishna is a protector of religious principles. In Vishnu Sahasranam, there are so many names alluding or indicating this name. He's a protector of religion. So he will do anything at any cost to protect religion, even if he has to break his own vow. Just like he broke a vow to kill Bhishma because he wanted Yudhishthira Maharaj, the personified religion to win and then rule the world. That's his mission. So he's always besides his devotees. That's the whole point. This I'm forgetting, but in Old Testament, in Bible, there's a beautiful story there. There was this king, I forgot his name. There are so many kings in Old Testament. But this king was there, and who was he? Come on. Probably you remember. I'll tell the story. If you remember, just tell me. So there was a king, and then God told him, you should go and you should actually destroy the other camp, like the barbarians. They were all barbarians. So God told him, destroy them. They're very sinful, and you should go. So he went with his soldiers and told him, okay, do one thing. Till the time their army was very small, a small group, and the opponent's army was very big. So God assured them, till the time you keep your hand up in the sky like this, you're going to win. And if you put your hand down, then he'll start losing. So this person, this king, he was keeping his hand up like this, and everybody was fighting, and like they were winning in spite of the fact there were very few of them. Like okay, let's put it like that: 10:1 ratio. For every one person, there's a 10%. So there's no chance of winning. But because they were devotees, they were believed in the Abrahamic God, one God. So he kept, and they were, so what happened was, like, the war will take so much time, like it's like morning till evening, he's like standing, he got tired, his hands started paining, so he just put his hand down. As soon as he put his hand down, they were getting defeated, the opponents started killing their army, and they were dying, and he was seeing what's happening, so then he told something has to be done. So he asked his fellow mate, he told, okay, I'm putting my hand up, and they put a stick here for rest, and then they put another stick and tied the hand like this, and then he was standing, like whole night he was standing like that. They were fighting, and in the morning they won. So God is, it's Old Testament is all about fights. Of course, it's all about love also, but apparently it's all about fights and treachery and cheating. But it's showing, and that's why, by the way, Christians say, the God of Old Testament is envious God. Is it? It's like that. They speak like that. All these doctrines speak like that. But the idea is all the fights and all these rampages in the opponent camps by these devotees who are supposed to follow Abrahamic God. The idea is to show that God is always with the righteous people. That's the idea which Old Testament is trying to put through. Here again, there's a fight. There's a war. What war is doing in Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam is all about love. Bhagavatam starts with the fact, Pibatam Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. Sukadeva Goswami says, every verse of Bhagavatam, Swadu, Swadu, Pade, Pade, relish every verse of Bhagavatam. Every verse of Bhagavatam is full of transcendental mellows and taste and loving affairs. Bhagavatam is all about love. There's nothing besides love. Janmadi Asyata. It begins with this line, Janm Adi Asyata. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur translates it in a little different way. He says, okay, what is the Janma means birth. This Bhagavatam has taken birth. He's not connecting Janmadya Syata with creation. He's saying, okay, let's connect it to Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam has taken birth, Janm, Adi Asyata, to actually promote Adi Ras. Adi Ras means the Ras of Golok. You can also say Madhurya Ras, but technically, if you generalize it, the love of Golok. That's the mission of Srimad Bhagavatam, to promote and propagate the love, the type of love which God has with his devotees in Golok. That's what Bhagavatam has come to promote and propagate and do a propaganda of. So every verse of Bhagavatam is full of that love. Now, what's war doing here? Dhritarashtra is fighting with Indra, and Indra is like, getting afraid, but here first Indra was getting afraid, now demons are getting afraid, they're running, and there's a lot of fight. What's happening? Like, where is Krishna? Where is Rasleela? Where is Brajvasis? It doesn't mean anything. So why is this here? Why is this here? To make the same point, what I was just mentioning, Old Testament. Sukadeva Goswami is trying to show that God is always with his loving devotees, whether he's present or not present. He's always on the side of his devotees. And of course, devotees should also be conscious and also accept this fact, and also rejoice in this fact that God is with him or her always, whether he can see him or not see him. And that kind of, and when the devotee rejoices in this fact, he's actually rejoicing in his own faith. That's the whole idea. And Krishna likes that. Krishna says, oh yeah, he's having so much faith in me. There was this, I don't know, I'm just giving examples from Bible, so pardon me, but I just remember those examples. So what to do? So there was this person who came, there was this Roman soldier, and he came to Christ and he said, you please, my son is very, very sick, and you please come and heal him, because Christ in his ministry with his disciples. He was going around all this area of Bethlehem and all these, like all the Jerusalem area and all places, and he was healing people, healing sick. Now this Roman soldier came and he said, "Oh, you please heal." And Christ says, "Okay, I'll come to your house, no problem. I accept anybody's plea." But that Roman soldier said, "No, you don't need to come. You just give your word. Your word is enough. I have full faith in you." And then Christ says to his disciples, "You look on this man. He's having million times more faith than you, because he believes in me simply because of my words, and not because he has seen, because he has to be proved and he has to be shown some magic." So then Christ makes his famous statement, if you believe in God after seeing him, what kind of faith is it? If you believe in God without seeing him, that's called faith. That's interesting. So that's the idea, especially at the time of fight. A fight means when you're fighting, then you are like highest anxiety and tension is in. That's the highest point of anxiety and tension, and in the life of a person, there's no other point of time where you're having maximum anxiety because you can die. It's on your life. At this time, if somebody can remember that God is on my side, it expresses his 100% faith. That is faith. And that's why we see wars in Bhagavatam, and Gita. It's spoken in the war setting. Why it's spoken in the war setting? Because the idea is Pandavas to glorify the faith of Pandavas, that even at this time, which is a very crucial time where Bhishma, Drona, big warriors are there, still they don't lose faith in Krishna. And of course, there Krishna was personally present. But here, Krishna is not present. He's not there. Nobody can see him. But you see, the interesting point is even demons, they know what's happening. Even a Vritrasur, he can appreciate, that it's due to demigods are winning because Krishna is there on his side. Vritrasur is saying this. Well, Vritrasur is saying, well, we are not devotees of Krishna, and probably that's why we are getting lost, because Krishna is with Indra. Harao Bhakta, he Hata Yuddha Darpa, and that's why we are losing the battle, in spite of the fact we are so strong. Viprachitti, Maya, Vitrasur, they were very strong. If you read the description of Vitrasur, he was very fierce and very strong. When demigods saw him first, they were getting heart attacks. So all the demons started running away. Palayan, Mokhe Visrija, they started running away. Patim Manaste Dadhur Atasara. And their commander, Vitrasur, he was addressing demons when all the demons were running. Palayan means running. They were struck with fear. Demigods were fighting very strongly. And demons got fear not just because of the fight, but because they knew that God is behind them, Vishnu is behind them. And that was really a factor which gave them heart attack. And they actually they were losing their courage because they have this experience, like Bali Maharaj, when he had this Samudra Manthan, churning of the ocean. Bali was there, and all these people who was Kalnemi was there, big asuras, demigods, they were churning, and Vishnu came and he easily broke them and snatched nectar and then killed all of them. So they know the power of Vishnu, and they could see the hand of Vishnu behind demigods, and they were really struck with fear, and they started running away. So Vritrasur is saying, text 30, he's saying, 6th canto, 10th chapter, 30th verse. He's saying, Vritrasuros tan anugan manasvi. He's saying, Pradhatva preksha bhabhasha. He saw these demons running. Pradhatava, dhatava means running. Pra means fleeing. They were not running, they were fleeing. Prabhupada translates fleeing. They were running for their life, and he spoke bhabhasa. Bhabhasa means to speak. Prabhupada translates bhabhasa as speak. But literally, if you see, bhavasa means to speak with urgency and to speak to give courage to others. Just like a commander in the army, the army is losing, get up, fellows, and fight for the country, fight for demons. He was speaking the same thing. Balam cha bhagnam bhayena tivrena vayhasavira. He spoke. He smiled and spoke. What did he speak, Vitrasur? Now, these verses, what Vitrasur is speaking, it shows that he's a courageous person and he's also a devotee of Krishna. And Indra, when he heard these words, he was confused whether he's a demon or he's a devotee. He could sense something is wrong. Why he is speaking about God in his talks. So what he's speaking, just listen to this. Kalo papanna ruchiramanasvan. He's saying, according to his time, position, and the time and circumstance, I'm reading in English, appreciated by thoughtful men. He spoke, he called to heroes of the demons, Viprachitti, Namuchi, Puloma, Maya, Anarva, Shambara, please hear me and do not flee from the battlefield. He spoke now. Now his words are spiritual. Note this point. He's not saying like, get up my fellows, and for the country you have to sacrifice and give your blood and empathy. No, nothing like that. He's directly on a spiritual talk there going on. Jatasya mrityu dhruva eva sarvata. This is Gita. What's that word? Jatasya dhruva mrityu. Dhruvam janma mritasya. Exactly the same. He says anybody is born, he has to die. Dhruva means that's a fact. Now here I just want to put a footnotes here that that this Srila Prabhupada, one guest, I was telling, he said one guest, he came and he said, Prabhupada, what is your advice on health? Prabhupada said, what nonsense health? Say first you have to understand it to die. So if you see, actually this is very interesting because if you see Prabhupada's talks, he's always to the point. He's always to the point. You have to die, escape from death. Always. Like I was just wondering, why Prabhupada is hammering this point. Well, some people, Gaudiya Math people, they argue because foreigners and hippies, they needed ABCD, basic knowledge. They couldn't digest higher things. That's why Prabhupada is hammering, get out of death, get out of death. But the point is, Gaudiya Math devotees and other devotees who was saying that Prabhupada toned down his message because of hippies and foreigners. They themselves couldn't escape that. So what's that? The point, everything will come again and again to this point. You have to escape birth and death. And I think after, we also talk about taste and rasa and all these things we talk, but the idea is that we have to escape from here. And how to escape, that's the issue. If you take the higher taste, then you lose a lower taste, and then you can escape from this. But that's a reality, that's a fact. We are stuck up. And we don't have to forget this. If we forget this, then we lose the whole sight of the aim of life and we miss the opportunity. Prabhupada also said, Rupa Goswami escaped from this material world. Prabhupada used this statement for Rupa Goswami. He was very conscious of birth and death, Srila Prabhupada, as pure devotees always are. Bhakti Siddhanta, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Madhven Puri himself, like he was running away from the society, forest after forest after forest. He said, well, if I remain in society, I will have attachments and I will again be stuck up in birth and death. Now here's a point. Do devotees want to escape from birth? Some people might say no. Even if we take birth after birth, still we want to do devotion. So how to be saying we don't have to escape birth and death, but that's a wrong understanding. We want to escape birth and death, but then you might say, oh, so you're doing devotion to escape birth and death? That's a business. That's not pure devotion. In fact, Gaudiya Math devotees had this charge on Prabhupada, and he said, see, some devotees, Gaudiya Math devotees, they came to Prabhupada when in Mayapur, and they had a big discussion. And So Prabhupada said to Hamsadut and all these servants, get out of this room, and they were like putting their ears, and inside banging voices coming, and they're saying, you are this, you are this, and you are this. By the way, a small part of it got recorded, which is not there with us, because I think Tamal Krishna Maharaj and these people, they destroyed it because it was really nasty. They were abusing Prabhupada. Prabhupada was abusing them. But small part got recorded, and that recorded part, that tape, the devotee who recorded, whose service was there, he said, I deleted it, but he kept it with him. Like before deleting, he heard it. And that devotee is now in Gaudiya Math, of course. But of course, he's very loyal to Srila Prabhupada. And he was saying in his memories that, well, I heard that, and I heard that there was really this tone of criticization of Prabhupada books there, because the point was that all your books are wrong. Because we are saying get out of birth and death in all books, and that's not pure devotion, by the way. You see the point there? But we can't really imagine Prabhupada not writing about pure devotion. That's the wrong stuff. So the explanation is that Jnanis want to get out of birth and death. We also want to get out of birth and death, but there's a difference. Difference is Jnanis want to get out of birth and death due to fear. Vitraga, bhaya, krodha, due to fear and frustration. Of what? Fear and frustration of attachments to names and forms in this material. But we want to get out of this material world. Why? We want to get out of this birth and death. Why? Because it is pratikul to bhakti. That's the first point. It obstructs us from remembering Krishna. And our rule is anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varsana. Simple. So although the action is same, the intent is different. So, and that's why this verse says, Jara marana mokshaya mama ashrityatantiye te tad brahma vidu krishnam. What's after that? Brahma vidu krishnam adhyatma karma chakhilam. I think 7th chapter, almost the last verses. For Krishna directly says, for getting Jara marana mokshaya, for getting liberation from birth and death, mama ashritya, my devotees take shelter of me. Now, are these pure devotees or mixed devotees? Krishna says in the next line, Te tad brahma vidhu krishnam. Krishna means completely. Brahma means me. Our spiritual life, they completely understand spiritual life. Adhyatmam karma chakilam. Their all actions are spiritual. They are my pure devotees. So then what Krishna is trying to say? Many commentators comment on this verse that devotees want to really get out of this birth and death, because they see this as the greatest obstacle on the path of remembering Krishna. We want to get out. You see the point. One point I'll tell you. Why we want to get out of this material body? Why do we want? If that desire is not there to get out of this material body, if we are not frustrated of this material body, we will never get spiritual. It doesn't happen like that. So as we get frustrated of this body, we are in this, and as we understand this body is what do we say? That line is there. Best use of bad bargain. This body is there. It is helpful to devotion, but at the same time, it's a big obstacle. So biggest obstacle. And we are using this, but what to do? But we want to get out of this. And when the desire to get out of this body becomes extreme, you can't stay in this body. You get frustrated and you want to get out of it. At that time, Krishna will award you spiritual body. That's the whole point. Of course, you should also have a desire to get spiritual body, but the idea is, how do we get frustrated of this material body? How do we get frustrated? One method is you do meditation and all those, but devotional method is we get attached to Krishna and we get attached to remembering him, and the more we remember him, the more we will realize this body will obstruct us more and not let us remember him. by birth, by death, by old age, and by disease, and all these things. And then devotee will pray to Krishna, Krishna, please get me out of this body. Give me a spiritual body where there is no hunger, no thirst, no sleep, and we can always glorify. And then Krishna will say, okay, that's it. Now that's how you get Sarup Siddhi. It's not a magic you will get Sarup Siddhi and you will chant some rounds and say Hare Krishna. And it's not like that. That's a complete thing. So that's what he's saying. All living entities, anyway, I'll just come to the point back. He says all living entities who have taken birth in this material world must die. Jatasya dhrupmuti dhruva sarvata pratikriyasya na chahya kliptata. He says no one in this world has found any means to be saved from death. Vitrasur is a pure devotee, by the way. By the way, Vitrasur's stuti is there, 4 verses, isn't it? That what source? What's that? What is how it starts? How is that stuti started? Vitrasur's stuti, 4 verses. It's there, famous verses. Anyway, I just missed my point. But they're beautiful verses, Vitrasur's stuti, and he's saying in that. So he's praying to Krishna, Dasanudasa bhagatosmi bhuya. That, oh my Lord, I want to become servant and servants of the servant. And he's saying that virahiya kankshe, I just desire one thing. I want to feel separation from you. It's a beautiful. And these 4 verses, Vitrasur Stuti, what is this number? I just forgot this number. Anyway, so these 4 verses, Vitrasur Stuti, Vallabh Sampradaya, they say that actually Vitrasur's, what he spoke 4 verses in glorification of Krishna, that's a Samam and Bonam of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's his words are so important. Vitrasur is considered to be one of the purest devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam. His words, 4 verses, are considered as the essence of what all Bhagavatam has to say. You can imagine Vitrasur. You might not have even imagined. It's so important. Vitrasur is so important that even Rigved mentions this incidence of Vitrasur. Vedas don't give a historical incidence, by the way. Vedas are talking always in conceptual manner. It gives laws and principles. Historical incidences based on those principles are in Puranas, but Vedas, they speak about these incidents. Why? Because Vitrasur is a very important personality, and here Vitrasur is speaking about death. So if a pure devotee is speaking about death, okay, here this is text 26 anyway. So if he's speaking about death and he's saying we have to escape death somehow, then there has to be some understanding. You have to harmonize that pure devotion also constitutes a desire to escape death, which Vitrasur is talking about. Even Providence has not provided a means to escape it. Under the circumstances, death being inevitable, loko yasha atha tatho yadi hiyamam. If one can gain promotion to higher planetary systems, be always celebrated here by dying a suitable death. What man will not accept such glorious death? Is beautiful spiritual instruction there by Vitrasur. He's trying to inspire his people by including a spiritual message, not just mundane message he's giving. And we don't expect Vitrasur speaking crap because we have just seen he's a pure devotee. And he's bringing the topic of death because it's a point, because war and they can die. And he's saying, why do you fear from death? Anybody who has taken birth is sure to die. So do your duty, fight, and don't run out. It's a beautiful logic. And Krishna also gives to Arjuna. And he's saying, well, death is inevitable. Don't worry about it. That's a beautiful thing. Prabhupada says, people who fear death, they are misers. People who fear death, they are foolish people. They are foolish people. They are shuras. They are low-minded, weak-hearted people. And that's why the Kali Yuga is like that, isn't it? Kalau Sudra Sambhava, everybody is fearing death. Why? Because everybody is on bodily concept of life. Just like fix it, So that's the whole idea, and Vitrasura is trying to encourage people. Then with the 33rd verse, Vitrasura is saying, now this is a very important verse. Vitrasura is acknowledging the fact that by doing devotion, you can conquer death. Thou samatao iha mrityu durabur. Two people. There are two ways to meet glorious death, and both are very good. Now, Vitrasura is making a point here. Why do you fear death? Meet death with full courage. And there are two ways. One is to die after performing mystic yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga. This Prabhupada is adding. It's not there in the verse. But anyway, we know that the sense of yoga is Bhakti Yoga, so it doesn't matter. By which one can control mind, living force, and die absorbed in thoughts of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the second is to die on battlefield, leading the army, never showing one's back. These are two kinds of deaths recommended in Shastra as glorious, and Vitrasura is facing both of them. Vitrasura is devotee and is completely absorbed in Krishna. That if you want to escape death, there is no other way. There's no other way than devotion. There's no other way than devotion. He knows this. He knows if you want to go up, whether spiritual world or heavenly planets, to go up, you have to get rid of fear of death. There's no other way. If we have fear, we go down. That's all. That's the rule. If you have fear, you go down. If you're fearless, you go up. That's the law. And fear is the basis of lust, anger, greed, and all whatever, even attachment. Even the basis of attachment is fear. That's what Bhagavatam says. Bhayam dvitya abhiniveshitasya. People think, well, I'm getting attached to this person, my children, my house, and this and that. Well, if you really look up to it, the base is fear. What kind of fear? Emotional insecurity. Right? That's the base. I'll be alone. So I need some people, some things. I need money to protect myself. It's all fear. So attachment is born of fear, and then once attachment comes, then everything, anger, envy, and everything proceeds. So, in fact, the basis of our arrival in this material. We came in this material world because of fear. That's the whole point there. Because of fear, we are here. We have a lot of fear. So that's what Bhagavatam says. If you're fearful, you go down. If you conquer fear, you go up. And the way to conquer fear is, there are two ways, he says, isn't it? One is devotion and one is dharma. The other one is talking about dharma, by the way. He's saying, second is to die on battlefield, leading the army, never showing one's back. This is dharma. So there are only two ways in this material world to become free of fear: bhakti and dharma. There's no other way. And people who follow dharma, religious principles, they go up to heavenly planets. People who follow devotional principles, they go even beyond that to spiritual world. People who are following neither of them, they go down, in spite of the fact they might show themselves very good people, or whatever they do, they must go down. Moga asha, moga karmana, they're all projects, must fail. So beautiful understanding. Vitrasura, Indra was really surprised when he spoke. Vitrasura spoke. There are two ways to meet a glorious death. One is to be absorbed in thoughts of personality of Godhead. Now, Indra was thinking, my God, he's a demon. And he's saying at the time of death, you should be absorbed in the thoughts of Supreme Personality of Godhead. It was never heard from a mouth of a demon, in fact, especially in the war. You see all these demons, they know spirituality. When Hiranyaksh died, then Hiranyakashipu came and he was giving a spiritual discourse to his wives. He was saying, don't worry, we are souls and we don't die, and it's a beautiful spiritual discourse by Hiranyakashipu. You really see that. Really, it's a beautiful discourse. It's full of spiritual principles. And one might think, if you don't know Hiranyakashipu, you might think, oh, actually, this is a good person. We should learn spirituality from him. But similarly, Hiranyakashipu gave spiritual discourse. And who else? Who else was there in Bhagavatam? A demon who is talking spiritually. Kamsa speaking. Kamsa speaks some spiritual things. I don't know. I don't know he's speaking or not, but I don't know. But probably he was speaking. Yeah, probably he was speaking when he died. No, I don't know. But anyway, some more demons are speaking spiritual principles. But so Indra was not surprised when Vritrasura was saying everybody who's born, he must die. That's okay, demons understand this. But he's surprised when he's speaking about God and absorption in God. That they don't know. So the takeaway point from this is, demons can also be spiritual. All this spirituality stuff in your America and West, it's all demoniac. That's all. It's without God. And they can really talk about soul and this, that, but they're all demons because they want to avoid God and highlighting these Vedic principles, but actually hiding God behind them, and that's a demoniac thing what they can do. So, in fact, Hiranyakashipu was the first Mayavadi. He just said he actually was a founder Acharya of Mayavad. Hiranyakashipu, really. Bhaktisaraswati Saraswati Thakur, he gave a discourse on Mayavad, and he said the first Mayavadi was Hiranyakashipu. So these Mayavadis, they are founder Acharyas, they are demon. And that's how, their whole demoniac mentality thought is coming. This whole new age spirituality in all the West, it's all demoniac. It seems good. Yoga and natural food and nature and veganism and healthy thing, it's all demoniac. Even demons can talk about health, isn't it? I mean to say, you can't expect. So if you would have been lucky enough or unlucky enough to go to Lanka, if you go in time machine and if you go back at the time of Ram and you land up in Sri Lanka where Raman was there, and you take a tour, it'll absolutely exactly to look like America. Seriously, exactly. You will not feel you're not in America. His Lanka was very beautiful. We know this from Ramayana. Very beautiful. Roads were very clean. Everything was systematic, and they were like proper places for malls, and there were residents and beautiful parks. And we know there are beautiful graphic descriptions of people they were having when Hanumanji went in search of Sita. There are very graphic descriptions in the Kand. And Hanuman saw that they were like aristocratic people in suits, and they were having parties in the night. And there was like, everybody was having very nice etiquettes. Some people were like wild. Some people were having nice etiquettes. It was really good, But people were drunk and they were eating meat, and that's all America. I think this is what is all America all about. And there were spiritual discourses. There were posters, there's a 4-day seminar on spirituality, a 4-day seminar on yoga and meditation. Of course, I mean to say, these demons would have been practicing yoga and meditation. Indrajit was practicing tantra and yoga and meditation. They also need powers, isn't it? Without yoga and meditation, they can't have powers. That's obvious. Without their chakras being opened, they know all these things, and that's why demons continuously they want to. It's a perpetual endeavor of demons to steal Vedas. There's a whole avatar of Krishna to actually get the Vedas back, isn't it? That Hayagriva avatar. Madhu Kaitab, they stole the Vedas, and then Hayagriv, he in avatar, he brought back Vedas back from those demons. So that's the whole idea there. This is the whole point there. Vritrasura, he's a great devotee. And Srila Prabhupada, that's why always he never focused on spirituality as such. And yoga, he never recommended yoga. But he always was harping on this point: Krishna, birth and death, and Krishna, birth and death, Krishna and birth and death. That's what he was doing. That's a devotee. He's same rituals, birth and death, and Krishna. The time of death, remember Krishna, go back. This has to be fixed in our mind. And then we can make our life successful. By the way, Vitrasura is not forgotten about spiritual principles and God even when he's fighting and he's getting lost in the battlefield. He remembers that. Generally, people will get psyched out, isn't it? Everybody's running away and what to do, hey, come on, you. And instead of speaking the spirituality, he would have been like abusing them, you cowards and you nonsense. Come back. He didn't do nothing like that. He didn't even praise himself, brag himself. You see, I'm here. What he spoke is just entire Prabhupada's teachings, Krishna consciousness. Remember death, remember Krishna. That's all, finish. That's all, nothing. You need only 2 words to get liberated: death and Krishna. Krishna, people will accept, but death, devotees are not going to. Why should we remember death? But Krishna himself says in 11th canto, anybody who forgets death, he'll forget me. Krishna says clearly, anybody forgets death is going to forget me. Because this material world will then attract him, and he will not want to leave this material world, and that's a big problem. He'll forget. So we have to remember both. We have to remember death and Krishna. And that we'll die, that will give us impetus to achieve Krishna as soon as possible. Death gives an impetus. Krishna made death to give us an impetus to attain him sooner the better. That's why he made death. Krishna doesn't want to torture us. I mean to say there are many reasons for dying, but one positive reason is, okay, fine, let's wake up, and attain me as soon as possible. Otherwise, you're going to die and you're going to miss everything. That's one of the functions of death. In a positive tone, if we want to see death as a friend. One of the saints, he says, death is your guest. Invite him. Invite him in your home. And he will teach you many things. So that's the whole idea. But people of this material, but they fear death, they don't talk about death. And that's, they don't even either talk about Krishna. They're missing these 2 strong realities which we are living in. And that's why they are completely in illusion. That's how it works. So this is about Vitrasur here. And I think I'll end up here. If there's any questions anybody wants to ask.
I want to ask one.
Yeah, if anybody wants to ask here anything, you can ask.
Thank you very much for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. Dear devotees, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. Is there anything in the chat window? I don't see raised hands yet. Dear devotees, please go ahead, and if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask questions, please.
Yeah, if there is some question, that's fine.
Yeah.
Here they have. You have some questions here?
Yeah, I don't see any questions in the chat box, Prabhuji.
There's
Yeah, right now, Chitra Rupini Mataji, how to remember death? And Sukhasagari Mataji said Ravana was Brahminical.
Okay, how to remember death? That's okay, that's also difficult to remember death. That's an interesting question. Yeah, we generally forget we have to die. Most of us, we forget we are going to die. There are few practices which are mentioned in scriptures, and saints in India, they do that. Some saints, they regularly visit Shamshan Ghat. Shamshan Ghat, what's that? What is it called? Burial? What's that?
Crematorium.
Crematorium. Some saints, they regularly visit crematorium to make themselves remember death. That might be a good practice. We go to temples, we go to some places to remember. Just go and take a tour on crematorium and sit there and sit for some time, and then you can. Actually, I was in America. I was in there, where San Diego, and we went to a crematorium. We were like going somewhere, and there was like so many graves there. In America, there's a place, there are so many graves. I told that devotee, stop here, and we went and sat there for some time. And it was good, actually. I really remember death because so many people, they were dead, And it was a special place. It was a place where all soldiers were like, even when they sat there, when they all American World War II, they're all big on the beach, So it's there, and so we went. It was good. It's a good practice. Another practice is you can visit a hospital. That's a good thing. Just take a tour, and you will remember, there is disease and there is death. It helps, because I was a doctor, so I am very conscious of that. I've seen people die in front of me, healthy people, and with no reason also. Just dying. With no reason means they could, like, it's a small disease, and we were expecting he'll just within 2 days he's out of the hospital, but he's dead. So like that. But in this age, you don't need to really remember death. I mean, you can see news, everybody's dying left here and there. The point is, if you want to remember death, you'll remember it. The point is, if you want to remember, you'll remember. If you don't want to remember, then you will not remember. That's all. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Just a minute. Please, can you just hold on? Yeah.
I was going to say, isn't it because people fear death, that's why they can't remember?
People fear death, and that's why they can't remember. Actually, people fear death, that's why they don't want to.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. They fear death, they don't want to remember death, and that's why they can't remember death. You're right. That's the whole point. They want to remember Krishna because he's beautiful, and that's okay. But who wants to remember death? I'll die and I'll lose everything. No, just forget it. But that will be like a big disaster, because you're trying to avoid a real fact, and that immediately puts us into illusion. That's all. Okay, anybody else here?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Shamagauri Mataji, please go ahead and...
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you so much for your class and your time and association, Prabhu. So my question is, you said Krishna comes to kill the enemies of Indra because Indra is on the side of Dharma. So here, Vitrasura is the devotee of Krishna. Isn't he in the Dharma?
Vitrasura is a devotee, but he's not on the side of religious principles. That's the whole point there. Like Bhishma, he was a devotee, but he's giving the side of adharma. And so Krishna, so now you might ask, okay, if he's a devotee, but he's on the side of adharma, then Krishna should prefer devotion over dharma, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that because the idea is in this material world, protection of dharma is required for the souls to get liberated. There is no other way. Otherwise, they will not be able to practice bhakti. They will not be able to do that. So protection of dharma is required to protect bhakti. That's a prerequisite. And that is why you see in Kali Yuga, it's so difficult to do bhakti because there is no dharmic principles. And that's why Prabhupada said you have to establish varnashrama dharma. That's a 50% of his thing. So Krishna made dharma in this material world as a support system to practice bhakti. Otherwise, people become bonkers, they become maniacs, chaotics, barbarians. And that's all the Western civilization. And you see the Western history, it's all full of fights, and that's it. Fights or sex, that's all. That's what is Hollywood movies, isn't it? Violence, sex. They don't know anything besides this. Even if they talk about God, they talk about sex. That's all. The fight, they link violence. That's what their civilization is. So because they are adharmic, we call them malechas and all these, it's all scriptures. Why? Because they don't follow religious principles, and that's why all the Western civilization, it is very difficult to practice devotional principles in the West throughout the history. There is some problem. India is always glorious because India was a land of spirituality. Always, it's still known that because India culture and dharma was there, and that supports bhakti. So Krishna will do anything to support bhakti, anything to support what supports dharma, what supports bhakti. And here Vritrasura is a devotee, but he's on the wrong side. So he's not on the side of Vritrasura externally in this whole scenario, but he's on the side of Indra because he's a devotee and he's dharmic. And he's also giving the message. Also in Mahabharata, Bhishma and all these people, he's giving a message that you have to be devotee, and you also have to follow religious principles as far as possible if you want to have a protection. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, got it, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Taruni Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah, wait a minute. Just a
Sure,
minute. Here, just devotees want to ask a question on this regard. Yeah.
Why is it that devotees you see that are on the side of the demons, even though they're devotees? Why don't they just switch sides?
Why? The question is why devotees are on the side of demons? Like why demons are devotees, and they would have left demon friends and went to with demigods, isn't it? The demons and others, they're devotees, and they're continuing their post. Bali, he's a demon, but he's on a demoniac post, but he's a devotee. Let's put it like that. Prahlad Maharaj, he was on a demoniac post, and he was a devotee. So why is that they don't leave demoniac friends and join devotees? That's because there is a reason for this. Because you see, the point is, Vritrasura's case is very different because he's born to kill Indra. That special yajna is done. He's born to kill Indra. That's the whole point there. Bali Maharaj's case is a little different. He's there, he is a king. He is a grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. He's a king. Prahlad also, he was a king of demons. Vishnu himself crowned him the king of demons. Said, why? Because you see, there is a hope. If there's a devotee in that post, he can reform demons. There is a hope there. So they stay there as service. And Bhishma, he was always on the side of Kauravas, although he knew they were adharmic. People say that was due to the reason that he took a vow to protect Hastinapur, but that was very extreme. He was there with the hope that they might get reformed. Vidur was there. Bhishma was regularly counseling Dhritarashtra, and he was there. Vibhishan was there. Vibhishan was also counseling Ravan. You should not do this. Please surrender to Ram. So I think, to say it's not mentioned anyway. It's some analysis. It's not mentioned in scriptures. Let me put it straightforward that they are doing some kind of service, probably which is demanded by Krishna himself from within the heart. Bhishma was there with Pandavas because that was clear demanded by Krishna. That is there. That information is there. Bhishma Prabhupada says he was there because Krishna wanted, so that Duryodhana should fight, and this war should happen. Duryodhana was fighting on Duryodhana was banking on Bhishma, was banking on him. So that's the whole point there.
The concept of Virya Rasa Krishna wants to enjoy, that is not mentioned.
Concept of Virya Rasa, no, that's not with Bali and all this.
With the Bhishma.
Bhishma, no, Bhishma, it's not mentioned.
It's not, but generally,
Yeah, generally,
comes out.
he was enjoying fighting with Krishna, Bhishma. He was enjoying. But the purpose why he was there, that was not. Because the purpose, the Virya Rasa, that was with Jai Vijay. Their whole purpose was to, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Tarani Radha Mataji, please go ahead with your question, Mataji.
She's not there. Hare Krishna.
Are you able to unmute, Mataji? Ask to unmute.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. I was not able to do it. Thank you so much for this beautiful class today, Prabhuji. You were like wrapping up saying that, if one is conscious of both Krishna and death, that's the perfect that's perfection. So I was, my question is, yes, as devotees, we are trying to do everything to please Krishna to our best ability. And in our consciousness, we are trying to not forget Krishna. But yet when we think about death, right, the fear that comes, you said that fear should not be there, right? So the fear that comes is that my devotional service is not ripened to such an extent that I have no fear that, that I will surely meet Krishna. That kind of faith is not there because I know I have so much of imperfection and still I have a long way to go. So that puts on stress and the fear that, oh my God, what if I miss Krishna this life, That fear is there because of that when I think about death. So how can I, how can that fear go away?
Well, that fear is good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good fear, but then it's still fear, right? So,
no, it's a good fear is good. You have to get rid of bad fear.
Okay.
We have to keep this.
So this is okay, you're saying? When I think about death, I do have fear of God because I'm still not perfect yet, and I feel like, oh my God, that fear of if I have to die tomorrow or die today, I'm like, oh my God, I'm
it's
not
good. It's good. That's required.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Gail Mataji, please go ahead with your question, Mataji. I don't know, ask to unmute. Mataji, were you able to unmute, Mataji? Yeah, I can see her.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, just a couple quick things. One is I just want to confirm that we are encouraged to remember death as a way to remember that material enjoyment is temporary only. Is that the point?
Can you please repeat? Mataji, can you repeat? I just get your question.
Yeah, I was not able to. I was not able to unmute. Okay, so yeah, my question is, isn't the point of remembering death that to remember that material enjoyment is temporary? Isn't that the whole point?
Well, that's not the whole point there.
Well, I mean to say, remember that material enjoyment is temporary so that we will be encouraged to seek out eternal.
No, that's not the whole point, because that's a secondary point for devotees. Because even Gyanis are thinking like that. That material, you see any Buddhist or any other Mayavadi, they will say the same point: material enjoyment is temporary. So you have to conquer that so that you can attain eternal bliss. They're all terms are like this, isn't it? The same terminology they use. But there's a problem there. If this is a factor, but this is a secondary factor, because this is not the primary thing. Because if we keep this a primary thing, then it's not pure devotion in one sense, because we are saying, okay, material enjoyment is temporary, so we need to go to spiritual world for eternal enjoyment, and then, okay, fine. So you are in search of eternal enjoyment, and that's your agenda. and you want, because you are frustrated of temporary enjoyment, temporary things, and so there is some kind of not pure devotion there. The primary thing, is it? So the primary factor is to remember death is that death, we remember death and we fear death, that it will separate us from Krishna. And that is pure devotion. We'll get separated from him after death. Who knows where we are and what we are. We might not even come to Krishna consciousness, and also we will forget him, and a devotee cannot tolerate separation. And that's the whole point of that.
Okay, my problem now is that as devotees, we understand that, we don't actually become non-existent at the time of death. We do not. So at the time of death, why should we fear becoming separated from Krishna?
Well, we fear we fear because of being separated from Krishna consciousness. That's separation from Krishna.
Yeah, but at the time of death, we are practicing devotees, and there's that verse in the 6th chapter of Gita, right? That that promises the devotees that even if we have not finished in this life, right? There's there's no diminution also. So we will get a birth that will facilitate our continued advancement.
Yeah, it might fast. That's from Krishna's side, but what is from our side? If we take birth and Krishna gives us a facilitating environment which is conducive, but then if we go mad, and then how can Krishna help? I mean to say, there are so many intimate associates of Ram and even Krishna who became demons. Even Krishna's son became a demon. What kind of more conducive atmosphere we want being born in Krishna's family by Narkasur, Duivet? We have so many examples in history. So Krishna speaks from his side. Okay, I will give you a better birth, but you might become mad. I can't help it out. And there are more chances of us becoming mad. We are really mad.
But Krishna, he is, we hear that Krishna is a person who is our supreme protector. He's not, even if our tendency is to go away for some strange reason, right? He is always there to protect us.
Well, he'll protect us, but then you answer me. Then why do devotees leave a movement, even in this life?
I mean, it's their free will.
So then next life also is their free will.
No, yeah, I understand, but I mean to say, but at the same time, Krishna, that's for those people who are like recalcitrant, and who are just very.
No, it's not stubborn. Like that. Come on.
No. We hear this. No, we hear this all the time. That if we are insistent on going away, then yes. But
actually, it's not like that, Mataji. It's always not like that, because we see in history there are so many sannyasis which fell down. Sannyasis who were having disciples and who were gurus in all sampradayas, even in Christianity, Islam, they fell down like anything. Bhaktisant Thakur's left hand, Sundarananda Vidya Vinod, he fell down. He rejected Bhakti Siddhanta. What about that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the details of all these people's stories, but in principle, we do hear all the time that Krishna will do everything to keep a person on the path. But if the person
he will.
Insistent,
he will. He will do. But it's much more complex than that. We can't put it simply. You see, Gita, Krishna is giving very general principles. But like, for example, when Krishna says, Yad Katavana Nevartante, anybody who comes back to my abode, he will never come back to this material world. It's a very general principle. They asked Prabhupada, okay, so if someone goes to spiritual world, he never come back. Prabhupada said, no, he can come back. It's his free will. But he will not choose to come back.
Right.
That's why Krishna is saying. So the whole idea is, but Krishna doesn't mention this in Bhagavad Gita. Doesn't mention this. But Prabhupada is that's why we need commentaries. So Gita, there are so many general principles, but Krishna says, I'll protect you. But then there are so many complex factors. We are sitting in the world of illusion, and here anything can happen at any time to anyone. And that's why pure devotees are very cautious, and they want to get out of this place as soon as possible. And in fact, there is a term in Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Rurukshu and Yoga Rur. And even in Sri Sampradaya, there is a term, Mumukshu and Moksha. And the difference is, some devotees want liberation and some devotees want liberation now, because they are so fearful and they know this material world can make fall down. Even a pure devotee can fall down. Prabhupada says in Bhagavatam, even a pure devotee can fall down. Unless we don't go back to spiritual world, we can fall down. So the idea is Krishna will protect. Now the idea is, I understand your question, where to focus. Should we focus on his sublime protection, or should we focus on the fact that this material world is dangerous and we need to follow properly? Where to focus?
Both. We should do both.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, you're right. We should do both. And we should also recognize its realities, both of them.
We should also recognize what?
We should recognize that it's a reality, that whatever platform we are, even if Krishna is protecting, we can fall down because of our own stupidness. Anything can happen at any time. So Maya can tempt us and Maya can take us away from Krishna. And then how will he protect? He will do his best. That's for sure. You're right.
Yeah, that's what I want to make that point.
You are sure he'll do his best. But you see the point. He will do his best. But you see, Vedant Deshika and all the acharyas, even Madhvacharya, they say, yes, you should remember, he'll do his best to help you. But we should focus on the fact that we are the problem and we can also fail Krishna's project. We can fail him.
Okay.
We can fail his plans, and we are very expert at that. And so it's better to focus on this point and correct ourselves, so that it becomes very easy for him to execute his plan and get us out. So like that.
Okay. And just one other thing, Prabhu, is I actually missed, when you were talking about this thing that one devotee recorded that Srila Prabhupada said, and he claimed to have erased it, but he didn't actually erase it. What was that about death that Srila Prabhupada was saying that was recorded, but?
Oh, actually, that was a recording between him and Gaudiya Math devotees, and they were having a fierce debate, and like to and fro. And Prabhupada and the Gaudiya Math devotees were saying that all books are useless, because in your book, in every purport, it said escape birth and death, and that's not pure devotion. Because pure devotion is Mama Janmani Janmaneshwari. Mahaprabhu says, whether if I take birth after birth after birth, I will serve you. But in your books, you have given an impetus to devotion, and that you have to escape birth and death. And according to them, they thought it's not pure devotion, because Bhaktisandra Saraswati Thakur, he never spoke in these lines. Bhaktivinoda Thakur never speaks in these lines, that you have to escape birth and death, escape birth and death. They spoke, but the focus of their whole dialogue, all our acharyas, it's, and I mean to say, because you have to serve him, like that. But Prabhupada brings a different kind of outlook. He says you have to attain Krishna because material birth and death is serious problem. So Gaudiya Math devotees, they couldn't digest this, they couldn't understand this, and they said your all books are useless, and they're pretty much for babies and not even pure devotion. And Prabhupada was very angry. Prabhupada says, you don't know what is devotion, you are foolish rascals. And this was recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Takni Mataji. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my question is, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, my question is, life itself is ignorance, and it's very dense and it's condensed form. and we are trying to do bhakti, and in the middle of dealings with non-devotees, we are supposed to take some strong decisions, or some action reaction will happen, or sometimes we are forced to take or impose our views. At that time there is a possibility, because we are forcing it, that we can slip in the ignorance, because we try to impose certain things. So because the bhakti is very long term, so how we can deal with that ignorance? Because I feel that as the situation is very grave, I think that the ignorance will overpower me. So I'm fearing the ignorance right now, and how in
Well,
this
we
situation
can,
can remember
if
Krishna.
we always hear, if we always hear two good devotees and chant nicely and always read and pray, then this thing can be overcome. I mean, it's not your story, it's everybody's story. Everybody is there in this material world, and there's so many problems and decisions, and this and that and that. And that's a program which Prabhupada gave us, and if we follow it sincerely, then it takes time, but it can be done.
Because we are programmed for action and reactions and decisions in life. We are not programmed to bhakti as per a natural way. It is a bhakti.
So you have to change that. It requires extraordinary efforts. It requires mighty efforts, but that's what is required. There is no shortcut, by the way. And nothing is going to happen by becoming frustrated. We have to work on ourselves. That's the whole point.
Could you please explain the extraordinary efforts?
With patience. Oh, that's a big topic. You can read my book, Mighty Efforts.
I read it.
Yeah, so do that.
Prabhuji, and another question is, if say one non-devotee dies while remembering a very neophyte devotee, what happens to that particular soul, Prabhuji?
If non-devotee dies,
new devotee, neophyte devotee.
I know it's a new kind of case, I never heard this. But nothing is going to happen. A non-devotee is not perceiving that devotee as a devotee. What will happen is he will get the same body in his next life, same face, same features, and he will be a non-devotee. That's all. Nothing is going to happen.
Means he will get a chance to do the devotion.
I don't know. It depends on Krishna. We can't say anything. What kind of consciousness that non-devotee is having, we don't know. We have no idea what's going to happen. It's very complex. No one knows. It's a different kind of case.
Prabhuji, it's very difficult to remember Krishna at the time of death. It's really very difficult. There
So
is
who
no
says it's
chance to think.
Who is saying it's easy?
For you, it might be easy.
No, for us also, everybody, it's difficult. Who says it's easy? Even Kulashekar says it's difficult. It's not easy for anyone. Kulashekar also says, Krishna, let me die. Now it's so difficult to refer you. It's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult. But let's take a challenge and work on it. That's all. Finish.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Eternally grateful to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Do you have time for more questions?
Yeah, I think.
There's one more raised hand. iPhone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Your lecture very inspiring, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I had two questions. My English is not good, Prabhuji, if I try to speak.
No problem.
Prabhuji, one thing, you say, after take initiation first or second, we have so many material desire, somehow we doing same things. So is Krishna help? Because we our goal is go back to God help, but somehow we not control some senses. So how to control? Yeah. Or second thing, myself, I want to go this one life to Krishna. So how to is possible?
Well, it's a big question. How to control your senses? That's a whole project here. Even sannyasis cannot control their senses, but That's what, we have to have patience. We don't have to, first thing is, don't get discouraged if your senses become out of control. Don't get discouraged at any point of time. Apply some practical solutions, but don't get discouraged. Find solutions, do quick fixes, do long fixes, and whatever you do, just keep on moving. That's the whole idea. Don't stop moving. And that's what illusion Maya wants to do. She wants to make you stop moving. So whatever solutions are there in the consultation with spiritual master and scriptures, do that, whatever is needed, Prabhupada says, and keep on moving. That's important. And then slowly, if you keep on moving, then in association of good devotees, then senses can become controlled. But I can't guarantee that. No one can guarantee it. That's the whole point. If your senses are controlled, you're liberated. That's the whole point of the thing, and that's the whole thing there. And you want to go back in this life, then you have to have knowledge, and you have to have, I don't know, for your case, I don't know, because you're a female and you're in a home, and if instead of you, some male would have asked, I would have told him, just leave and come to us, leave your house and come to us. In house, what can be done? Nothing can be done much. But anyway, but there's a hope. Always there is a hope in all situations. Krishna says that. So chant nicely, read Prabhupada books nicely. That's the bottom line. People don't read Prabhupada books. But more than that, follow what Prabhupada says. It's not just reading and, and just memorizing verses. That doesn't help. Follow it as far as possible. Hear to good devotees. Don't hear like messed up things. Everybody's there on YouTube. Choose whom to hear and increase your realizations and go ahead. That's all. So, okay, do one thing. Read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Have you read Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Yes, Prabhuji, I start reading. Yeah.
Have you read that?
Yeah, I start reading.
Okay,
Prabhuji.
finish that and read 7 times. Read 7 times.
Okay.
Chaitanya Charitamrita, and automatically you will get what you ask.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay, so
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I see there are a few questions in chat. I don't know if you want to address. Tijil Prabhu. Tijil Prabhu or Mataji, Hare Krishna. Do you want to ask your question? I saw that you have a couple questions in here.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my question is like, as Hiranyakashipu was Mayavadi, although a demon, but he was successful in his goal of achieving mukti anyhow, isn't it? So can we consider that the spiritual practice of Hiranyakashipu was also successful?
What you are saying? What is this logic? Hiranyakashipu, when he got mukti, he didn't get mukti. He was born again. You know that? Hiranyakashipu were born again at the time of Ram. Kumbhakaran and Raman, who were there?
Okay.
So?
But okay. So I just knew that Prahlad Maharaj requested Lord Nrsimha Dev to free him, Hiranyakashipu.
No, they were born again. They didn't get
okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So it's finished. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I want to seek the association of devotee, but there is no ISKCON center near my location. So what can I do?
Well, simply hear lectures and read Prabhupada books. What can be done? You can take association of Prabhupada through books and read lectures. Nothing. What else you can do? You can't make a temple and you can't like magically produce some devotees. So do the best. And you can do one thing. You can travel to some places off and on and take association of devotees. Where do you stay?
I am from UP city, Bareilly.
Okay, so you can. Okay, so if there's a temple there, you can go there regularly, or you can visit to our place here in Punjab, Bajrak Ashram, and take association. Like that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
I think that would be it. Is there any other questions? If there are no other questions, we can end the call here.
That boy, so just a minute. So who was asking the question in the last? Who is that boy?
Amit Sharma.
Yeah, Amit, you are there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
You are there alone in Bareilly, huh?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I am reading Prabhupada book, but sometimes I get bewildered that if without that association of devotee,
no problem. Wait. So what do you do?
Prabhuji, I am currently I am first year of my graduation. I have completed only 12th.
Okay. Okay. Do one thing. Do you have a phone number? I can get you in touch with some devotees.
Okay.
So you send me your number on this. If you want, you can send me a number on this, or you can contact me on email.
Okay.
You know my email?
Yes, Prabhuji, I know your email.
Yeah. Or so Mataji, if somebody can type my email, Keshavanand108@gmail.com. So if you see my YouTube lectures, beneath description there is my contact also. You can go from there. Mail me your phone number, and we'll talk, and I'll give you some contacts there.
Prabhuji, can you please repeat?
I regularly hear your lectures to seek the association.
Fine. So you please mail me and send your phone number on my email. Is it Amit?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So my mail is keshavanand108@gmail.com. Somebody can type here, and yeah, this is my email. Yes, you can see that.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So yeah, please mail me, and then I'll give you phone numbers and send your phone number also. Then I can keep in touch. Okay. So we're going to end up here.
Prabhuji, can I ask one last minute question?
Prabhuji, there is a question from Dolly Mataji.
Yeah, you can ask first that question.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Dolly Mataji, do you want to ask your question? Okay, this is Mataji's question. It's in the chat. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can we do chanting and Krishna book reading together, or is it an offense? I am doing the same many times to remember his pastime.
I don't know. You're not supposed to do together. You first chant and then read from Krishna book, or first read Krishna book and then chant. That's all. But if you are chanting like 2 rounds, 4 rounds, and then giving a break and then reading something about Krishna and then chanting again, that can also be accepted. But you can't simultaneously do that. So I don't know. That's the whole point. 938. Is it?
We have Jyoti Takne Mataji with a question, and Taruni Radha Mataji also raised her hand again.
Yes, I will ask quickly. Prabhuji, you said 7 times you should read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Why it is 7 times, Prabhuji?
Just like that. 7 times because Srila Prabhupada said once that one should read. If Prabhupada, I think one of the Prabhupada disciples' memory is there. It's not recorded, but Prabhupada disciples' memory. He said Prabhupada told him that you should read 100 times Bhagavad Gita, 50 times Bhagavatam, 7 times Chaitanya Charitamrita. if we want to hope to go back to Godhead. He said that. And it makes sense. I mean, to say, even if that devotee is lying, well, that I don't know why that devotee is not, he'll not lie. I mean, to say that he's a Prabhupada disciple and he has his memories and he can't cook it up in his mind, this thing. So definitely Prabhupada would have said him. And it makes sense. You have to read again and again and again and again. So Prabhupada gave this figure 7. That's why I told you. The point is again and again and again and again you have to read the book. Otherwise, it's very difficult to assimilate things. It's not easy. That's all.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam to you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so
Prabhuji, there is one more raised hand by Taruni Radha Mataji, if you have time, Prabhuji.
Yeah, what she wants to ask. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving a chance to ask. Prabhuji, you were saying to the answer to one of the Matajis that what can you do in a family life? If you're a male, I would have said like just leave everything and come, which is like perfect. Yeah. But then when you say that, what can you do in family life? It just feels like really hopeless, our situation. So you can just give some hope. When you have hope, you can go through any situation. When you hear such things, the way you said, which is the truth undoubtedly, but then it feels like, where will I muster to get some hope?
Well, hope is there. Hope is always there. Hope means that you are in unfortunate position. The more the unfortunate position, the more the desire to attain that hope, isn't it? So it works other way around also. But of course, household life is definitely, it's not a good place to perfect your life. Especially if you're in a household life and you're in a city and if you're surrounded by non-devotees, like that kind of scenario. Indian families are like that, isn't it? So what hope you have? Well, cry. That's all. Cry to Krishna and he will open some channels for you. He can do that. But the point is, it's good to recognize that the situation is hopeless for us. That's the first thing. We have to recognize in what situation we are. We can't fool ourselves and say, no, this is okay, that is okay, everything is fine. No, that is a bad way to do things. We recognize wherever we are and then we pray and then Krishna will lift us. So you see, that's why I told, read Chaitanya Charitamrita and you will know what to do. That will guide you. That book will guide you, but you have to read again and again and again and develop internal cultivation. And then things are possible. Why? If it's not possible, it is difficult, but it's possible. It's not impossible. But you have to apply the right technique. That's the whole point. Technique should be right. If we simply go on working by rituals, Krishna conscious rituals, and mechanically, nothing is going to happen. First of all, there is bleak hope, and second, we are not putting the right technique. So then there's a big problem there.
What do you mean by techniques, Prabhuji?
That's why I told, read Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's one technique, isn't it?
That's a technique. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's one technique.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, so we are done here.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for answering all the questions and for your wonderful session. We'd like to end the call here.
Hare Krishna.
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Keshavanand Prabhuji ki jai. Granthraja.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Koti